So in finishing lesson 3, graphing linear functions, the last thing we have is horizontal and vertical lines. And sometimes this gets confusing for people. Right? What's confusing about it seems to be to me is that just because when it says x equals, people think then it's going to be a horizontal line, and when it says y equals, it should be a vertical line, and it's just the opposite. Okay? So here it shows that x equals a. All right, that means that is a vertical line. Remember we talked about in chapter 12 about asymptotes, vertical asymptotes and horizontal asymptotes. Okay, whenever we did a vertical asymptote, we always said x equals a. So if it's x equals a number, then it's a vertical number at that point because, and here's the reason why, is because it doesn't matter what the y value is. The x value is always that number. So I could plot that a bunch of times on the graph, and it end up making a vertical line. Where if it's y equals, then all I'm graphing is just that y value all the time. A slope of a vertical line is undefined, and the slope of a horizontal line is 0. Slope of a vertical line is undefined, slope of a horizontal line is 0. So here in example 5, letter A, they want us to graph x equals 2. Does it matter what the y values are then? No. So if I wanted to plot some points here then, I could say I have the point 2, 3. Would that be a spot where x equals 2? And I could plot the point 2, negative 5. Would that be where x equals 2 also? Okay. So if I plotted those 2 points, 2, 3, 2, negative 5, and I draw the line through them, it's a vertical line. Okay. So when it says x equals, it's going to be a vertical line. Because if I look at where x equals that number a lot of times, okay, not just once. Okay. Y equals negative 4 for letter B. That means I can pick any number I want for x. And y is going to be negative 4. So 0, negative 4, 2, negative 4. I could do as many as I wanted to at negative 4 and draw my line. Like my arrow? Okay. All right. So horizontal lines are y equals. Vertical lines are x equals. How many of you in your head have those switched? That you have when you think x equal, you think it's a horizontal line. Okay. That happens. There, you know, depends on the group. Okay. All right, so there's the finish of graphing them. Now what we're going to do is start looking at writing the functions. Okay. So we're going to do just a very basic part today, and then we're going to do the little bit harder part tomorrow. So we'll get you in the swing of things today and then move on. So we graph lines when we're given a slope and a y-intercept. And so what we're going to do now is we're going to actually, if we're given a line or given a set of points, we're going to then write the equation of the line in slope-intercept form. So when we say we're using slope-intercept form, then we want to make sure it's in y equals mx plus b form. So that means that we need to find the y-intercept, and we need to find the slope. So if we're talking about working with a line, then the first thing I want to do is find the y-intercept. Then once I find that, that tells me my value of b. And then from there, we'll find the slope. And to find the slope, then, we need to find rise over run. So we need to pick 2 points. And between those 2 points, how much does it go up? How much does it go over? Okay. So when we look at this graph, first of all, Nathan, where's the y-intercept? 1. Okay. So we will, the y-intercept here, b is equal to 1. Okay. So when we write our equation, we'll put 1 in for b. Now to do the slope, then, I want to find 2 points that I can easily work with. And this, usually there's a lot of them you can. They've identified 2 of them. So what I want to do then is I'm going to make a right triangle here, okay, with those 2 points. And since I'm going down first, I'm going down 1, 2, 3. So going down will be a negative number, so it's negative 3. And then going to the right, 1, 2, 3, 4, and that's a positive number. So my rise over run would be negative 3 over 4 for my slope. So y equals negative 3/4 x plus 1. So we identify the y-intercept first, and then figure out the slope. Pick 2 points. Do rise over run. I could have also done these 2 points also. All right. And made a little right triangle there. And I still would have ended up with, we went down 3 and over 4 there also. Well, it doesn't matter what 2 points you pick, all right, you better get negative 3/4. That would be a half. If you got 6/8, so I could, what he's saying is that I could actually come all the way down to here and all the way over to here, which would be negative 6 over 8, but that's still going to reduce to 3/4. So either way, I need to simplify it. Okay. So any pairs you want to work with. Okay, so the last hard thing today would be finding the slope of a line. Okay. And to find the slope of a line, which I know Ruth is, we're stretching her today. Okay. All right. Finding the slope, we're finding the change in y over the change in x, rise over run. But the formula for finding the slope is m is equal to y sub 2 minus y sub 1 over x sub 2 over minus x sub 1. So this means change in y over the change in x. Okay? Rise over run. So basically all you need to do is find out how far is it between the y's, find out how far is it between the x's, and divide. And then it's positive if the line is going to be going up to the right, and negative if it's going down to the right. So here we want to find the slope of the line through the points negative 1, 1, and 2, negative 5. Does it matter which point is 1 and which point is 2? Okay. Everybody on this side, okay? All right. All you girls over here, okay? You do it, use this point first and that point second, okay? And boys, in this side of the room, okay, you guys switch it. Okay? So you guys are going to use this one first and that one second. Does that make sense? Probably not, right? Okay, all right. So find the slope. Hopefully you're going to do it in 2 different ways. Oh, easy, Matt. Speaking of, how'd you do last night? What? All right. Did the varsity? Cool. Okay. So, Mitchell, what'd you get? -7/2? Think so? All right. Caitlin, what'd you get? -2/1? Okay. That's different. All right. Matt, what'd you get? -2/1. Okay. All right. So, Mitchell, did you use these two together? Okay. All right. So, slope. What goes in the numerator then? Natalie, tell me what you wrote. Okay. -5 minus 1 over 2 minus -1. Okay. Is that all the girls? Is that what you guys all on this side? You all wrote that? Okay. So this would be -6 over +3, which is -2. Okay. Good. Colin, what'd you write? Same thing Natalie did. Okay. Anybody do it differently than that? Okay. Justin graphed it and looked at it. Okay, that's fine, but that takes a little more work than what we need to do, though. Okay, anybody do it differently than this? Okay, so let's try it the other way, though. -1 minus 5 minus -5. Oh, let me try that again. 1 minus -5, okay, y minus y, over -1 minus 2. So 1 minus -5 is +6. -1 minus 2 is -3, which that still equals -2. So the order doesn't matter as far as which point goes first. You should get the same answer. Here's the only difference is that I really don't want to work with a negative in the denominator if I don't have to. All right, and that's the reason why when this is worded as y sub 2 minus y sub 1, that means that we want to take the point with the largest x value and put it first when we're subtracting, and then the one with the smallest x value. That way our denominator is always positive. Makes it easier. Okay. All right. So letter B. Here we have 4 points. Doesn't matter what 2 points we choose. No, it doesn't. I can pick any 2 points since they're all on the same line. Then the slope between any of those 2 points is going to end up being the same. All right. So, Alex, which 2 points should we use here? Okay, so we're going to use 4, 2, and what other one? Because we need 2 of them. 16 and 11, okay? All right. So we have 11 minus 2 in the numerator. Okay. Changing the y values over 16 minus 4 in the denominator, the change in the x values. So when we say change, we're talking about subtracting. 11 minus 2 is 9. 16 minus 4 is 12. So we get 3/4. And we could have chose any 2 points there, and we would have got the right answer. Okay. Letter C. Find the slope of this line. Okay. So some people say it's 0 and some people say it's undefined. Well, what do we need to find the slope of a line? 2 points, right? Okay, so let's pick 2 points. Let's use this point here. So that's the point 0, -2. And we'll pick another point. What's another point I could use? Okay, 1, -2, or 2, -2. Let's use 1, -2. So the slope, change in y in the numerator. So -2 minus -2. Change of x in the denominator, 1 minus 0. So -2 minus a -2 is equal to 0, because that's -2 plus 2. And in the denominator we have 1. So in this case, the slope is 0. So what we just proved is what we stated when we were talking about horizontal and vertical lines. A horizontal line has a slope of 0. A vertical line, the slope is undefined, because if it was a vertical line, those would have been switched and we would have had 0 in the denominator, and we can't divide by 0. Okay. Any questions?